And I'm Marshall, and this is Twin Cinema.
All right, our theme for this month, October 2016, is going to be horror movies that are based on urban legends.
Yep. And so we are going to review two of our favorite horror movies, Nightmare on Elm Street and Candyman.
All right, in this video, we're going to be reviewing Nightmare on Elm Street. First thing we're going to do is a quick synopsis of the film for those of you who haven't seen it. Nightmare on Elm Street is set in the small town of Springwood, Ohio, where Nancy Thompson and her friends all have strange dreams about a man with knives for fingers. The teenagers soon realize that if they are hurt in their dreams by the man, they are also hurt in real life. One by one, the man begins killing Nancy's friends, and she sets off to learn the truth and to stop the killer. She finds out that the man is Freddy Krueger, a child murderer who escaped justice but was burned alive by the parents of Springwood. Eventually, Nancy is the last teen left standing, and she faces off with Freddy, bringing him out to the real world and defeating him. Or did she?
All right, Theo, so what did you think of Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well, Nightmare on Elm Street is it's a classic, and I think for a very good reason. Wes Craven does a really good job. The movie is scary, funny, exciting. It's well done. You know, it's a fairly old film, 30 plus years, but the special effects still hold up really well. A lot better than I would say. I mean, it definitely makes you nostalgic for practical effects.
Yeah. They had a rotating room, I think, for both the first kill and Johnny Depp's death scene, which is probably one of my favorite kills of all time. But yeah, it's really, really good special effects, very convincing for the most part. There's a few scenes, like there's a scene where, you know, a character takes off Freddy Krueger's face, and it, you know, it's just,
it doesn't really.
It doesn't hold up.
You know, what do you think about the movie's story as a whole?
I like it. I do see some holes with it, and I'm not quite as enamored as when I was first watched. In fact, I think Nightmare on Elm Street was the first horror movie I think we owned on video cassette. And I was really into it as a kid, and it's still a good story. It holds up. It's very simple, but I do think there's some parts of it that don't work quite as well, like Nancy's mom's alcoholism. It's not...
Yeah, I guess I didn't understand the point of including that, or I wonder if, you know, Wes Craven was looking for something more to put into the story, because it just seems so tacked on, you know, like all of a sudden, you know, Nancy throws her mom's alcoholism in her face, yeah. And there's this weird thing with her parents, especially when, you know, you find out that Nancy's dad is the sheriff, and there's this tension between her dad and her mom, and you're just like, why?
Yeah, I know. Their interaction is just not there.
What the hell was she doing there? She lived there. I don't mean her. I mean you. What was she doing there?
But a big theme in Nightmare on Elm Street is parental abandonment, parents not understanding their kids. Which I think is the most interesting thing about it, because here in the story, Fred Krueger is someone who was killed by the parents. The parents love their kids enough to do this monstrous act, and yet all the parents you see in the film are disengaged with their kid's life. Like, they did this one thing, and I guess they just thought, okay, well, I guess that's all we have to do in the parenting front. We're going to go be alcoholics or go be off with our boyfriend. And this happens in almost all the movie, like Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So I do think that's a big thing that Wes Craven was trying to convey. because this movie's all about adolescent fears, the knowledge that your parents are human, your parents are fine, they can't protect you. And even when they say they're going to protect you, even when the law says it's going to protect you, it can't always. And it's a big part of the movie is like the failure of authority figures to do anything. You have to take your own responsibility, which is why I like Nancy, and why I think Nancy is probably the best final girl in any horror movie franchise.
The weird way in which like teenage sexuality like features, and sort of the idea of a slasher film as morality play.
Yeah. He definitely wasn't the first one to do it.
No, I know he wasn't.
But I definitely do see that there. I mean, you could almost, because the first couple that gets killed, you know, they had sex, and Nancy won't do that, which leads to probably one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Morality sucks.
So it's very interesting. I think all through the film, Nancy is shown that like she can't trust her friends, she can't trust her parents, she can't trust her boyfriend, she can't trust the police. Only she can do it, which is why the ending is very satisfying. Even though I will say I did find the Home Alone antics to be kind of an anticlimax.
Let's talk about, why do you think Freddy Krueger has so much staying power as a villain? I mean, I think it's interesting for me because when you look at like kind of the other, you know, prototypical series in the genre, in the horror slasher genre, and the villains they have, they're, you know, Freddy stands out because he's not silent, right? You have Michael Moore in Halloween, who like is silent in this mask, and you can't see it.
Michael Myers, not Michael.
Oh, Michael.
Just imagine Michael Moore.
Well, I mean,
giant mask.
Whatever. You know, I know a lot of people who think about Michael Moore is just as scary as Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And Jason, same thing. You know, silent mask, and I know that was something that, you know, specifically Wes Craven and the creative team wanted to do, was to not have a mask. But beyond that, like, Freddy Krueger is not silent. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what gave him his staying power, because unlike, you know, the silent killer type, you know, didn't really have any personality, so you could kind of substitute them for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Unknowable. And especially when you compare it to, like, Michael Myers, who, like, in the original Halloween, not the remake, which goes into his past, like, you don't really know why he did what he did. Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, you have motivation for Freddy Krueger coming back. So I feel like that to me is why he's such a powerful...
Oh yeah, he's also very marketable.
So what did you think? Let's kind of, you know, wrap up the review of this movie, but what did you think of the ending? Because the ending is very ambiguous. It appears as though Nancy has defeated Freddy, mm-hmm. and then, you know, there's this sort of perfect ending where the mom has quit drinking, and, you know, all our friends are actually still alive. Mm-hmm. So do you think, is this whole Freddy thing just been a dream?
Yeah.
And then it turns out, oh no, like, Freddy grabs the mom and turns in the car and takes the kids off. So, you know, I guess I don't really know how I felt about that.
I'm sure they probably had that ambiguous ending in the, you know, it's probably a student mandate.
I wonder, because, I mean, obviously sets it up for a sequel.
Totally, and they knew it was going to make money. I mean, they didn't know it was going to make money, but it was only like $1 million, you know, which is a bit in 1983, but still not that much for a movie. So it made well past that. I didn't like it a whole lot. I mean, I know why they did it. I mean, almost every horror movie does it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Friday the 13th does it.
Yeah.
You know, it just, you know, I mean, I guess if I was going to, like, paint that, I feel like the ending is the biggest flaw. Not that the ending left it ambiguous, but, I don't know, it just seemed...
weak. Like him just going, ooh. You know, I take back all my power, which I get, like, that's the theme, like, she's taking complete control, and, I mean, I like that from a character, like, again, like, with the Home Alone antics, I like that from a character standpoint, like, I love Nancy. She is, like, one of my favorite horror movie characters. Like, I actually kind of like her more than Freddy, even though I do like Freddy, but I like Nancy because she's just such a strong presence. But I do think it's kind of silly. I don't know how I feel about it. It's not the worst ending I've seen, for sure.
No, it's just sort of like, what, it's weak.
Yeah, it's just your kind of standard 1980s horror movie ending, so it is what it is. Obviously, she survived because she comes back.
I mean, but that's the thing, is it a dream? Is it not a dream? You don't know.
I would think it's probably a dream, and she, might have been a dream, and she escaped Freddy again because she's powerful.
Yeah, or I mean, it could just be like Freddy wasn't even there. It could just been a dream because you got this traumatic experience.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's obvious. I agree with you. It seems to be like a studio mandate thing, just to make it open for a sequel. But I think it could have been done better.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would say overall, I recommend it. I mean, I feel like, what does it even mean? It's a classic. It's just like saying I recommend like Citizen Kane or Casablanca. Like,
I know.
Who doesn't recommend it?
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of Wes Craven's best work, and as much as I love a lot of his movies, he is very uneven, but when he directs Freddy Krueger, with this one and with New Nightmare, he always does well. So
yeah. Excellent. All right, so we will see you at our next review when we talk about Candyman.
I never was a